Welcome to 10 Dot Complains about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers RPG Part 4. Let's talk about monsters for a second. So, it's been a good 20 years or so since anybody has seen the first generation of Power Rangers. And those of us who used to watch the show, think back for a minute and try to remember some of the villains that the original Power Rangers fought. Okay. So, of the ones that you thought of, did you think of Pine Octopus? How about Poluticorn? The Snizzard? No? Well, apparently the book thought that these were the enemies we wanted to fight. Because in the core book, there is no Goldar. There is no Babu. There is no Rita Revolta. Oh, but there's Finster. You can fight Finster if you want. And Putties, right? The Lord Zed Putties. Oh, but Lord Zed isn't. He's not in there either. And you might be thinking, oh, okay, well, that's no big deal because there's ways to make your own monsters, right? No. There are no rules in the game yet about how to make monsters on your own. You can only use what's stock. So, unless you're super passionate about fighting Putties, Pine Octopus, Poluticorn, Snizzard, or Finster, you're probably not gonna have a very exciting first couple of adventures. Now, to be fair, they did include Rito Revolto. He's kind of a big bad though, so you have to be careful throwing him around. But man, they don't even have Scorpina. They don't have Scorpina or Goldar, which are the two most likely people you are to run into, coupled with some putties, besides the Monster of the Week. I'm really upset about this, because if you want to run the Power Rangers game today, you have to use some of the ones that I already mentioned, or you have to come up with your own storyline. Like, you very easily could do a storyline where you're fighting an evil version of the Power Rangers. Because you can just use the character creation rules to make your own other team. And that could be very interesting. You could go for a pretty long time with that. But, man, I just cannot get over there is no Goldar. And there's no rules about how to make a monster grow, but there are separate enemies for the grown versions of some of the monsters. The two that come to mind are Poluticorn and Pine Octopus. I think have grown forms so that your Megazord can fight them. But I believe the Snizzard, it doesn't. There's no way to make that bigger, and there's no rules for suddenly enhancing the size of any of the monsters that are already in the game. So to be fair, though, I did some reading online, and apparently Renegade Games is going to come out with a PDF sometime in February that will teach you how to make your own monsters. And that will be so it's a free PDF, and it will allow you to make your own monsters, and it will make up for the fact that the monsters included in the manual are a little lacking. So even if it doesn't have Goldar or Scorpina or Rita, you could conceivably make it yourself. You can make the Tengu Warriors, which aren't in the book, or Ivan Ooze, which isn't in the book. But if they come out with that PDF explaining how to create some characters, I think that will be a great improvement on the game. I also hope that PDF has some errata in it. I heard another rumor that they're going to come out with some videos about how to create characters, which I just hope answers some of the questions that I had in my first 3 videos about how armor works and physical strikes. I did watch the November 2021 reveal about the Power Ranger system, but the character sheet didn't look the same because it was a work in progress. Even the book didn't exist in the same form. Like, it was just a bunch of links to a PDF that the creators of the game were going over, and as you can imagine, they didn't bother to go over much. A lot of it was discussed in passing very fast. So we're going to need some more supplements before we can really start playing this game. You can do some basic adventures where you run into putties. Maybe there is one of those bosses of the week that I just mentioned at the end of the adventure. If you start at level 1, your Power Rangers don't get Zords until they're at least level 3. So unless you want to have a battle of normal Power Rangers versus the grown version of monsters, which could be very interesting, then most of your missions are just going to be smashing putties. And there's a special kind of putty called a changeling that can turn into another humanoid, so you could still have some enemy variety, but gosh, I just don't know. I just don't know about this system as a whole just yet. It looks fun. I'm just not sure it was ready to be played by anybody. Anyway, stay tuned for more.